Welcome, everyone, to the Anti-Inflammatory and Autoimmune Diet Functional Nutrition Health Series. I'm Dr. Teresa Rispoli, PhD, Doctor of Clinical Nutrition, licensed acupuncturist, and founder of Functional Nutritionist Academy, where I teach an online certification course called Mastering Functional Nutrition, and Complete Health Institute, a wellness center located in Agoura, California, where I've been in clinical practice 27 years, and I'm your host today. I work tirelessly to support people motivated to improve their health. Today, we're learning what chronic inflammation means for your body, why you are reading about it more and more, and the importance the FDA and National Institute of Health are placing on chronic inflammation. We will look at how an anti-inflammatory autoimmune diet can help you face down the challenge of controlling, managing, and postponing disease associated with chronic inflammation. By addressing each element of an anti-inflammatory autoimmune diet, we can target easy changes first. Success breeds success. So rather than completely changing your diet overnight, you might find it easier to make incremental changes before moving on to the next challenge. So let's look at anti-inflammatory foods and inflammation. We're constantly bombarded with the value of anti-inflammatory properties of foods and beverages. Virtually everyone knows that red wine has an anti-inflammatory property. Hooray for red wine! But most of us also understand that fish, green leafy vegetables, the colorful vegetables, beans, and other foods are well known as anti-inflammatory foods. But do we understand the anti-inflammatory properties of foods? Well, spice plays a role in the anti-inflammatory food landscape as well. Turmeric, the spice often found in Indian food, has increased in popularity based on its recognition together with curry powder, ginger, garlic, chili powder, basil, cinnamon, rosemary, and thyme. However, recent studies indicate the value of turmeric may be seriously overrated. Clearly, there are two sides to the turmeric story. Fighting disease with food choices has been a fundamental choice in taking control of our overall health. Let's examine those conditions that create varying levels of inflammation and what that means in terms of your quality of life. But wait, what is inflammation all about anyway? Well, there's normal inflammation, which is good for your body and part of the natural healing process. For example, if you jam your finger or stub your toe and it turns red at the joint, swells, and is tender for a few days, that's good inflammation. That's the healing process at work. Chronic inflammation, however, is bad. It contributes to a whole host of chronic and terminal diseases, from cancer to Alzheimer's to leaky gut to autoimmune diseases. Chronic inflammation, or inflammation that does not go away, is not good and can lead to systemic conditions throughout your body. Inflammation is at the root of most chronic illnesses. These conditions can include inflammatory bowel disease, leaky gut, psoriatic arthritis, diabetes, heart disease, pelvic inflammatory disease, autoimmune disease, and many others. Pneumonia is actually inflammation of the lungs. Inflammation can even trigger acne. Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis cause inflammation and ulcers in the innermost lining of the large intestines and affects more than 1.6 million Americans, according to the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of America. Studies have suggested that psoriasis and celiac disease share common genetic and inflammatory pathways. The FDA and the National Institute of Health are deeply involved in tracking inflammation, and this is something we're going to continue to hear a lot more about. Effects of chronic inflammation can include hair loss, depression, and psoriasis, though in many cases chronic inflammation may also be undetectable. In the small intestines, inflammation is a trigger for leaky gut and can affect the blood-brain barrier, cause systemic inflammation that can lead to autoimmune disease, malabsorption, and nutrient deficiencies. This is serious stuff, guys. Inflammation must be stopped dead in its tracks to reverse chronic health conditions, period. I always say disease begins in the gut. Leaky gut can affect the whole body. The brain, it can cause depression, anxiety, ADHD. The skin can cause acne, rosacea, and psoriasis. The thyroid can cause Hashimoto's, hypothyroidism, and Graves' disease. In the colon, it can cause constipation, diarrhea, or irritable bowel disease. In the adrenals, it can cause adrenal fatigue. The joints, rheumatoid arthritis, fibromyalgia and headaches, the sinuses, frequent colds, and food sensitivities. And it's inflammation that's at the root of all of these conditions. Remember the gut-brain connection? A new study provides concrete evidence that an inflammatory response from the immune and nervous system may contribute to the development of Alzheimer's disease in the brain and cognitive decline. Do you get the picture? That taking care of your lifestyle to the extent you can reduce inflammation is a good thing? Forward-thinking doctors recommend making lifestyle and dietary changes to delay and prevent onset of inflammation. The instructions are always the same: diet, exercise, sleep, and relaxation or meditation. Well, what do depression and inflammation have in common? There's even a study from Emory School of Medicine that ties depression with inflammation. If you look at patients with heart disease who are depressed, you see they have higher markers of inflammation than heart disease patients who aren't depressed. And heart patients aren't the only ones. When researchers medically induced inflammation, as with treatment for skin cancer patients or certain types of vaccinations, they've noted an increase in depression and fatigue. We covered a lot of ground in terms of inflammation and its potential impact on your health. Information is power, and I'm ready to transfer that power to you. Do you believe you can benefit from an anti-inflammatory diet? Or do you know someone who could? Are you ready to tackle and modify your diet to fight and manage inflammation? Well, you'll feel better if you do. Let's backtrack and summarize a bit. Inflammation occurs with the release of chemicals from white blood cells into your blood flow to protect a part of your body. Inflammation occurs with the release of chemicals from white blood cells into the blood flow to protect a part of your body and to remove toxic cells, pathogens, stimuli, or other irritants and repair damaged tissue. Managing chronic inflammation is the goal here. In a Harvard University study, foods were proven to have inflammatory properties, and they found that they should be avoided by those with inflammatory disorders. These include gluten-containing foods and white flour-based products such as white breads, cakes, cookies, chips, and other fried foods, soft drinks, sugar, artificial sweeteners, processed meats, and spreads such as margarine. You should choose unsaturated fats like omega-3 rich wild-caught fish, fish oils, olive oil, walnuts, flax, chia or hemp seeds, and eat a wide variety of green leafy vegetables. Let's examine some of those foods that are anti-inflammatory. Which of these already dominate your family's food list, and which can you incorporate into a healthy and appealing meal plan? Let's find out. Here's your anti-inflammatory food list. Tomatoes, olive oil, green leafy vegetables such as spinach, kale, and collards, nuts like almonds and walnuts, and Brazil nuts, fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, tuna, and sardines, fruits such as strawberries, blueberries, cherries, and oranges. Have I got any coffee lovers out there? Good news! Coffee, which contains polyphenols and other anti-inflammatory compounds, may protect against inflammation in limited amounts. Fruits and vegetables such as blueberries, apples, and leafy greens that are high in natural antioxidants and polyphenols have protective compounds, which are all great. Is it beginning to sound like the Mediterranean diet, which is high in fruits, vegetables, nuts, whole grains, fish, and healthy oils? Anti-inflammatory foods have a lot in common with the Mediterranean diet. Is there anything on this list that doesn't work for you? Let's break this down. Don't worry, there's not going to be a test. This is definitely not a nutrition class or a science class, but sometimes it's helpful to let the sources of information, the technical details, sink in a bit. So vitamin K, that's the vitamin found in green leafy vegetables, some vegetable oils, and some kinds of fruit. In a one-year study published at the Cardiovascular Journal, metabolic risk markers for inflammation were reduced by 30% when following a diet with vitamin K intake, increased to at least 70 micrograms per day. Omega-3 fatty acids are found in fish and supplements derived from fish, krill, algae, and flax seeds, and they're a good source of omega-3 fatty acids. Omega-3 is good. Omega-6 is bad. Well, it should be in a limited amount. It's not necessarily altogether bad. Now, vitamin D, the primary source of vitamin D is sunlight, and vitamin D is known to aid in the control of inflammation. Vitamin D has long been known to contribute to bone health by promoting the absorption of calcium. In recent years, much attention has been paid to its possible immune and inflammatory benefits. Low vitamin D levels have been associated with several diseases, including asthma, cancer, diabetes, and arthritis. Vitamin D through sun exposure is great. Just be careful about skin cancer. Don't overdo it. So what's all this turmeric about anyway? Turmeric comes from the plant curcumin. So don't confuse this with the spice cumin. Turmeric is an orangey yellow color and often the dominant flavor in Indian curries. There are hundreds of internet articles on the impact of turmeric on inflammation in your health, but let's dig a little deeper and review the medical journals based upon scientific studies. Turmeric is not easily absorbed by the body, but curcumin has been demonstrated to be safe in 6 human trials and has demonstrated anti-inflammatory activity, and it may exert its anti-inflammatory activity by inhibition of a number of different molecules that play a role in inflammation. But you always want to choose supplements high in curcuminoids. The spice turmeric by itself won't help much. We've had a general look at what inflammation is, what an anti-inflammatory food group looks like. Let's take a deep dive into the technical aspects of anti-inflammatory properties. Are you ready to identify specific foods and quantities that can impact and improve your health? Here's some anti-inflammatory foods for life. Let's get specific. What do you need to eat and how much? Well, we all know you need fruits and vegetables, but now we know these foods matter in fighting chronic inflammation. This portion of an anti-inflammatory diet can be challenging if you're not used to eating these quantities of fruits and vegetables. So you might start off with half the stated number of servings the first month or even the first 2 months. Once you develop a routine of incorporating these vegetables into your diet, it'll be much easier to increase your number of servings. So fresh fruits, you need 3 to 4 servings a day. Vegetables, raw or cooked, 4 to 5 servings a day. The fruits could be raspberries, blueberries, strawberries, peaches, nectarines, oranges, grapefruit, red grapes, plums, pomegranates, blackberries, cherries, apples, and pears are all excellent choices because they're high in antioxidants and high in anthocyanidin. Vegetables, dark leafy green ones, broccoli, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, bok choy, cauliflower, carrots, beets, onions, peas, squash. Raw salad greens are among the better choices for vegetables. Beta-carotene-rich foods are excellent choices too, like sweet potatoes, carrots, kale, butternut squash, turnip greens, pumpkin, mustard greens, cantaloupe, sweet red peppers, apricots, and spinach. Foods rich in beta-cryptoanthine include winter squash, persimmons, papaya, tangerine, red peppers, and corn. I know this sounds dull, and at first it may be, but as you embrace this anti-inflammatory approach to food, you'll lose your craving for overall sugary products, and your aches and pains will go away. It'll just be amazing. Are you ready to learn more? Okay, so there's beans, pasta, and whole grains as well. These are often the easiest changes to make. Let me know how you feel about it. Beans and legumes, you need 1 to 2 servings a day. And some good choices include azuki beans, black beans, chickpeas, black-eyed peas, and lentils. Pasta, you need 2 to 3 servings per week. Organic brown rice or pasta, bean thread noodles, quinoa noodles are all good choices. Whole and cracked grains, we need 3 to 5 servings a day. So brown rice, basmati rice, wild rice, buckwheat, barley, groats, quinoa, and steel-cut oats. Once a week, I suggest you have a bean day. Honestly, the quantity means B-day. Stretch it into 2 days, with beans as a main focus on day 1 and a side dish on day 2. Whole grain pasta is a simple switch, and it really is delicious. This is not hard to switch from white floured pastas, and the same goes for white rice. These are healthy choices you can make at the grocery store, and the ones that reward you for lifetime. Ready for more easy choices? Okay, so we have fats, fish, and soy. Let me know how you feel about incorporating fish, soy, and healthy fats into your diet, and pushing out the unhealthy foods as well. But remember, no one's saying never have a cheeseburger again. Just don't have them as often. That's all I'm saying. Healthy fats. We need 5 to 7 servings per day. So things like nuts, walnuts, Brazil nuts, they're all considered to be great choices. Avocados, seeds, omega-3 fatty acids in cold water fish, and whole soy foods. Use extra virgin olive oil to cook. Fish and seafood, we need 2 to 6 servings per week. Salmon, herring, sardines, mackerel, and black cod. And whole soy foods, 1 to 2 servings a day. So tofu, tempeh, soy milk, and edamame are good selections. Tofu? Well, there are some great recipes, and tofu comes in different textures. So try it. It's not that bad. Now let's spice it up. A great way to add a little anti-inflammatory spice to your diet. Spices, selenium, coffee, tea, and oh yeah, red wine is all anti-inflammatory. So we talked about the spice turmeric. There's curry powder, ginger, garlic, chili peppers, basil, cinnamon, rosemary, and thyme. These are all great anti-inflammatory spices. And then selenium-rich foods, Brazil nuts. You can have 4 of those a day, and that will be the amount that you need per day for selenium. You can have tuna, crab, oysters, tilapia, cod, shrimp, lean beef or turkey, wheat germ, and whole grains. Coffee and tea can have 2 to 4 cups a day. Things like white or green tea and oolong tea are best. Also be sure to drink an abundance of water throughout the day. They say you want to drink half your weight in ounces a day in water. Red wine, you can have 1 to 2 glasses per day maximum. First, discuss this with your doctor, though. And high-quality multivitamin and mineral supplements. You also want to include vitamin D in fish oil and CoQ10. These are very important. Now, we have a pretty good handle on what's good. Let's look at what we should avoid. The reality is that you'll probably not be able to avoid these foods completely, but you can try to limit them in your diet. Moderation is the watchword here. Are you ready to try it? Here's the foods you should avoid. Let's run through it quickly. You do not have to memorize this. Just tuck it away under your general knowledge category. For most everyone here, I'm simply reinforcing what you already know about healthy eating as it applies to an anti-inflammatory diet. So omega-6, it's not that it's bad, you just need to cut down on processed foods and fast foods. So avoid high-fat diet, trans fats and saturated fats. This means fried foods like French fries and fried chicken. Omega-3 fatty acids are healthy, while omega-6 fatty acids are still important, but it's the ratio to omega-3. They should be lower. So corn, safflower, and other vegetable oils all have omega-6 acids that should be avoided. Lactose product. Dairy products are highly inflammatory. All animal proteins contain inflammatory proteins that have been linked to disease. Your skin is actually your largest organ, and toxins the body cannot digest and eliminate through the colon escape through your skin in the form of acne, and dairy is usually the culprit. Meat, things like pork and beef, are difficult to digest. I'm not saying they're bad to eat. Maybe you should take digestive enzymes with them, but people with sensitive stomachs can have trouble digesting them. Sweets, processed sugars are empty calories, and they're just bad all around. They spike your blood sugar and are void of any valuable nutrients whatsoever. Besides causing weight gain, they trigger the release of inflammatory messengers called cytokines and can cause suppression of white blood cells, which make you more susceptible to getting sick. Inflammation caused by sugar has also been linked to certain cancers. Then there's saturated and trans fats. These fats can trigger fat tissue inflammation in the body, which is an indicator of heart disease and is also linked to arthritis pain. Trans fats also trigger inflammation. They're more often found in fast foods, fried food products, and processed snack foods. Artificial sweeteners like aspartame, found in diet sodas and gums, believe it or not. They're a neurotoxin that causes inflammation in the brain. Things like Splenda have been shown to spike blood sugar and increase the release of insulin. Not good for anyone at risk for diabetes. So don't eat that. Processed foods. Most packaged foods have been altered for long shelf life with preservatives, colorings, and artificial flavoring, all of which trigger inflammation in the body. If it comes in a box or a bag and has a brand name, chances are it's bad. don't eat it. It's going to cause you more pain and inflammation. If an anti-inflammatory diet sounds a lot like the Mediterranean diet, that's because they have a lot in common. Virtually all the major scientific organizations encourage healthy adults to adapt a style of eating like that of the Mediterranean diet for prevention of major chronic diseases. The Mediterranean diet emphasizes eating primarily plant-based foods, whole foods, such as fruits and vegetables, whole grains, legumes, and nuts, replacing margarine with butter, healthy fats such as olive oil and canola oil, using herbs and spices instead of salt to flavor foods, limiting red meat to more than a few times a month, eating fish and poultry at least twice a week, enjoying meals with family and friends, drinking red wine in moderation, that's optional, and getting plenty of exercise and rest. Would you like to see how I implement the Mediterranean diet? Well, here's some of my favorite meals. So I recommend we eat more fish. The go-to protein in the Mediterranean diet is fish. Fatty fish like salmon, sardines, and mackerel are on top of the list and are rich in heart and brain healthy omega-3 fatty acids. Match these with virgin olive oil and you got a good choice. These are all great. You can choose from shrimp, tilapia, mahi-mahi, sole, swordfish, salmon, sardines, mackerel, and tuna. So here's an easy salad. It's my salad niçoise. So you take either grilled or baked tuna or salmon, sliced radishes, blanched green beans, hard-boiled eggs, tender greens, black olives, 1 small red potato cooked, slices of red onion, salt and pepper, and a can of anchovies. But just use half of the anchovies and save the other half for a vinaigrette. You want to pour extra virgin olive oil on a plate with a squeeze of lemon and add all the ingredients. And if you need, drizzle with more olive oil and fresh lemon juice. And enjoy! Be sure to grate the lemon peel over the tuna or the salmon for extra flavor. And here's another choice, broiled salmon with warm tomato salad. So you take 5 tablespoons of olive oil, you want it to be extra virgin, a tablespoon of red wine vinegar, 4 6-ounce salmon fillets, about 1 1/4 inches thick, a clove of garlic coarsely chopped, and a 1/4 cup of coarsely chopped pitted Kalamata olives, 3 medium beefsteak tomatoes cut into 1-inch chunks, and 1 cup of celery sliced. And you want to use the inner stalks with the leaves. And you can add a 1/4 cup of freshly chopped mint. So you broil your salmon with your lemon juice and olive oil until golden brown. Just cook through. It's about 4 to 6 minutes. Mash your garlic clove with salt and sauté in 3 tablespoons of olive oil and 1 tablespoon of red wine vinegar. Add the olives just to warm them, and then place the mixture with sliced tomatoes, diced celery, and mint. And you can add blanched squash or zucchini. Please share the most valuable piece of information you learned from this talk. Also, if you feel like you need support on this journey, don't hesitate to ask for help. I hope that this lecture exceeded your expectations and that you feel well equipped with the knowledge, resources, and tools to finally reduce your inflammation. But for more information, please visit functionalnutritionistacademy.com. Here you can get your free gift. It's a report on solving chronic illness. Just subscribe to get instant access. Also, you might want to look at Lesson 3, Food as Medicine and Application of Therapeutic Diets. You can also learn how to become a certified functional nutritionist online in your own time here. I urge you to join and get the knowledge, tools, and training to begin transforming lives. Now, to book an appointment with myself, Dr. Rispoli, please visit CompleteHealthInstitute.com. Thanks again. I love sharing this topic with people who are eager to transform their health, and you've been just fantastic. If you have any further questions, please email me. I'm always here to support you. Well, we're done, but now you have the information to get started on transforming your own health. Bye now.